What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Nevin the Barber, and in today's YouTube tutorial I'm going to be covering a buzz cut with a bald skin fade. So to start off this haircut tutorial today, I'm going to go ahead and take my Metal Instinct trimmers to put in my first initial guideline. And this is going to be more of a mid to a high fade, which is why I started a little bit higher on the sides. But after I got this first guideline set, I'm going to follow it up with the Metal Instinct foil shaver, followed by no guard lever all the way open on my saber clippers. So now I have two guidelines, and I'm going to go ahead and follow this up with the 1.5 guard all the way closed. So essentially all I'm really doing right here is putting my guidelines in going up, and I'm going to go back down and erase each one. So with the 1.5 guard still on the clippers, I'm going to go ahead and do some clipper over comb, just blending up into the parietal ridge to get a nice clean transition into the bulk. And now that I have that complete, I can go ahead and move on to the half guard with the lever all the way open. So now the clipper is cutting the hair down to a short number 1 guard length. And I'm just going to gradually close the lever as needed to flick out any dark areas that I see. And when doing this, you guys just want to pay attention to the growth pattern of your client's hair. Sometimes you're going to have clients that have hair growing in different directions. So in that case, you'll just angle your clipper in the direction that the hair is growing out of the scalp. So now that I have the middle guideline blended into the 1.5, I'm going to go ahead and do some trimmer over comb on my client's hairline, as well as line up his vertical bars. And I like to line up the vertical bars before erasing the last guideline, just because I feel like it gives the haircut that much more pop. And with the lever all the way closed, I'm just going to flick out at that last guideline, and I'm going to gradually open the lever as needed. And this is really when you want to be careful when detailing the haircut, because you don't want to bring the fade too high when erasing this last guideline. So just let the clipper do the work and gradually open the lever as needed, like I said. But little by little, you guys can see how this fade is starting to come together with the few simple steps that I used. At the end of the day, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. This is just what works best for me. And right here, I have the lever all the way open, and I'm just really using the corner of my blade to detail out any last dark areas that I see. And I went ahead and put the half guard on just because I felt like I needed to do a little bit more detail work up towards the parietal ridge area, blending up into the crown. And on top, I went ahead and cut my client's hair down to a number 5 guard. And I feel like the number 5 guard is a good length for a buzz cut. Whenever my client asks for a buzz cut, I always recommend the 5, just because it's not too short or too long. And now all I have to do is come back and line up my client on the front of his forehead, since I already lined up the vertical bars. And I do have the modified P3 blade on my Gamma hitters by Eversince. If you guys do want to get a discount on the blades or clippers, feel free to use my discount code NEVIN10. I will be sure to leave the links in the description for you guys. And I'm going to be doing the same exact steps on the left side of my client's head. So as always, I'll go ahead and start off by using my trimmers to set that first initial guideline in. And I do have these trimmers right here zero gapped. As you guys can see, I was able to effortlessly bald out my client down to the skin. And now following up with the foil shaver, just to ensure that that stubble's cut down to the skin. Followed by my saber clippers with no guard lever all the way open. And I give myself about 1 inch with each guideline. You don't want to make your guidelines too big, but at the same time, you don't want to make them too small, because then your fade is going to look way too compressed. And now with the 1.5 guard, taking it up about another inch, followed by some clipper over comb. And doing the clipper over comb really just saves you guys from using the number 3 guard and the number 2 guard to blend up into the bulk. But once you get the hang of doing the clipper over comb, like I said, it's going to save you guys a lot of time. And now that I have that guideline blended up into the parietal ridge, I'll go ahead and come back with my half guard with the lever all the way open. And this is just blending the 0.5 up into the 1.5. And I'm just gonna close my lever one notch at a time. And when doing this, I'm gonna be sure to shorten my cutting stroke, only because the hair is going to be getting cut at more of a shorter length. And when using this guard, you won't always see when the hair is falling off of the scalp. So sometimes you really just gotta listen for that crunch. And as long as you can hear the hair being cut, that's how you know you're going high enough, with each step. So just a little tip, I always like to listen to the crunch, especially like I said, when it comes to doing detail work and you can't always see the hair falling off of the scalp. But that's something that works for me personally. I just like to listen to the clipper cutting the hair. And that's also how I know that I'm going high enough with each step. But now that I have that middle guideline blended out, I can go ahead and start on my client's hairline before erasing the last guideline. And my client did have a few light spots on his hairline and did request enhancements. So I went ahead and applied a very light layer of semi-permanent enhancement. And just like that, I was able to give my client a nice, clean, crispy hairline. And now I can come back with no guard, lever all the way closed to erase that last guideline. And I do have my clippers zero gapped, so when doing this, it is a lot easier for me to, flick out that last guideline. If you don't have your clippers zero gapped, I would highly recommend it, like I said, only because it does make this part of the haircut that much easier. And I'm just gonna gradually start to open my lever as needed, just to flick out any last dark areas that I see and really bring this fade together. And just be patient with this last step. This is really what, brings the haircut to life and gives it that blurry effect. And I'm just using the corner of my blade to cut these last few hairs that need to be cut and detailed throughout the haircut. I personally think that using the corner of the blade is a lot easier when it comes to doing detail work and really making your haircuts pop out. And right here, I went ahead and put the half guard on one more time. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, everyone's hair texture is different and everyone has, different density to their hair. So you're always gonna have to go back and double check your work. In this case, I had to come back with my half guard and just do some lever play to polish up the blend. But you guys can see how the whole haircut came together with those few simple steps that I used, only using 2 guards. I only use the half guard and the 1.5 guard when it comes to blending. But like I said, there really is no right or wrong way to do it. This is just what works best for me. But if you guys haven't tried it out, feel free to try it out and let me know how it works for you. And right here, I went ahead and brought out the 360 Jeezy clippers. And I like to detail with these as well. The only reason I brought these out is because my sabers died. But shout out to Gamma and Stylecraft for always coming through with the best clippers in the industry. Again, if you guys want to save some money on any of the clippers that I used in this tutorial, feel free to use my discount code Nevin10 on the Gamma website. And just to finish up this haircut, I'm going to do some shear over comb, followed by some point cutting. And now all I really have to do is go back and hit my client with the razor just to give that final touch to his hairline. But that is about it for today's haircut tutorial. Once again, I do appreciate all of you guys who tuned in this far. If there is any other haircut tutorials you guys would like to see, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll try my best to get them out for you guys. But once again, if you guys learned anything in the video, please be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one.